Cain be in his final season with the Giants? Would he sign somewhere else next year? There were a lot of the conventional wisdom outside the Giants was that it would be impossible for the Giants to have two aces and pay them the proper free agent money to keep them both. And yet the Giants said, no, we think we can do it. And they signed Matt Cain. And I think, Matt may have, we weren't there. We don't know what all happened. But I know for an agent, especially after the Dodgers were purchased, the agent has to say, you play this out, who knows, the sky is the limit to what you could get. But they made the deal, and I think that's it. You can't say it was that he gave them any kind of a discount. It was a fabulous deal. And yet, I think if you talk to most agents out there, they would say that Matt Cain gave them a discount. So anyway, be that as it may, I think that for him, that was something extra special to find out that he was the first ever to do it for the Giants. Because they're some of the greatest pitchers who ever pitched in the history of the game have pitched for the Giants. And none of them ever achieved what Matt Cain did here tonight.
No. I thought John made a really good point over on the TV side about a perfect game compared to a no-hitter. And it really is true. A perfect game is a team no-hitter. I mean, you got to make all the plays. And you can't throw it unless you got somebody behind you that are doing all the right things. Now, there was one great play tonight and two really good plays. And the great play is going to be the one that's going to be attached. Forever. You get a no-hitter and, look, maybe a guy walks or whatever, an error in the fourth or fifth. And after that, you're just, it's over, the perfect game. And now you can pitch for the no-hitter. But the perfect game, everything has to be perfect. The umpire has to be perfect. The defense has to be perfect. And I really thought that the rhythm that Buster Posey and Matt Cain and Ted Barrett got into was one that was going to be really tough for the Astros to get through because they had it going. And I'm not saying Barrett gave Cain a lot of pitches, but he gave him the benefit of the doubt. And you need that if you're going to throw a perfect game.
And I heard the interview that Amy did with Cain, and so then when he came on with us a few minutes later, I asked him, I sort of followed up. I just wanted to make sure I heard you right, Matt. So you never one time ever shook off Posey? And he said, not one time. I never questioned a call. I said yes to every single pitch he called the entire game. That's amazing.
Wow. It's amazing, and it's also great if you lose it, then you can blame him.
Yeah, well, I would have called for something different, but gosh, he wanted the curveball, and geez.
No, but I think you can also see now the trust that all these guys have in Buster Posey.
Well, and Posey, in his interview after the game, said that he was, I don't think he used the term freaking out, but he was never so nervous and so tense. And I think that's part of what he's talking about is he's the one guiding him through it. He's the one who's handling him and saying, this is the best pitch to throw now. And obviously he knew that he hadn't been shaken off all that time either, so... I mean, he's got to call the right pitch.
I mean, truly, that's a good... You think about, put yourself in Buster Posey's head there in those last couple innings. Every time he drops down that number, it better be a good one. Although, with Cain, most of them are pretty good tonight.
Well, plus, there was, I don't know, what do you think? 3 or 4 3-2 counts?
Yeah. All clustered there at the end.
And, so that's the pitch. That's the one where if you're Buster Posey, you got to be thinking... very strong about that finger you're going to put down. And, everyone, I think he got a 3-2 strikeout on a ball. And I don't remember. It might have been Bogusevic. But I think Jordan's ball Schaefer's ball that Blanco made the great play on, I think that was a 3-2 count. But it was fun to watch this crowd just totally 100% get into it. And they were into it from the 5th inning on.
But now you played in a perfect game. You're an infielder behind Len Barker, and it's a team thing. It truly is. Jonathan Sanchez pitched a perfect game. What's the difference? He didn't walk anybody. He didn't give up any hits. Juan Uribe made an error on a ball, so it was a no-hitter. He actually, in effect, got 28 guys out. He did better than a perfect game when you think about it, but so it is so rare. Probably, what achievements in the game are more rare than a perfect game? It's only 22 times in the whole history of the game. So everybody on the field feels the weight of that. You know, the pitcher can't walk anybody. He can still have a no-hitter if he walks some people, but he can't walk anybody in a perfect game. And everybody's got to be flawless behind him. And so you were there. You felt that same heat. And you saw the play that Arias made at the end. And we talked about the play that Crawford made at the end of the eighth inning as well. It looked like it took a little funny hop on Crawford.
Well, you're standing out there and you're very much aware that if you let this ball go between your legs, it's not going to be a good thing. So then you don't try to think about that for very long.
That's one way to put it.
So you go, get out of there. You know, you got the one on one shoulder going, you're good. The other one going, it's going between your legs. It's like, oh, no, right? But you really do get into a special area where you just don't think, you know, I hate it when people say, well, you're really in the zone. But you do get in a mental state where you don't hear anything and you're just totally focused on what's going on at the plate and how he's swinging and how you're going to move. And you don't really get that feeling a lot. But in a perfect game, and you know that everything is at stake, I used to let Mike Hargrove know when Barker was throwing a curveball, because then he could maybe cheat a little bit towards the line. And the last three innings, and I had a signal where I shouted something or whatever, I could not get his attention. I could not get his attention because he had totally blocked everything out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like there was 42,000 people cheering and he couldn't hear me. There was 8,000 people at the game, right? So, and that's what it's like. You're just so focused on what you have to do. And, you know, the other thing, look, Burris comes in cold.
Yep.
Crawford comes in cold.
Yep.
And Arias moves to a new position cold. And the only one that didn't have to make a play was Burris. So it was fabulous.
Add it all up. Perfect game.
Perfect game. The perfect night.
The perfect night.
And you know the other thing, too, is he did not have to worry about whether they were going to win or lose the game.
Didn't have to worry about that right away. And I think that does. I mean, that's...
It has to relax you a little bit where, yeah, you're not going to change your game that much, but you can pitch for what you want to do.
Just pitch for the perfecto. Forget about everything else.
And, you know, clearly, Matt wasn't thinking about it, but Buster Posey was doing all the thinking.
Yeah. And there might have been some moments there, because you mentioned those full counts. There could have been, you know, say it's 2-1. If it's a 1-0 game, could have impacted how.
I'm not going to throw this pitch because this is the pitch that he's going to jack out to tie the game.
I mean,
well, you don't have to worry about it.
You don't have to worry about it. So, just add it all up, and it's quite a night.
Very fun.
We'll step aside and have more right after this.